Hi, my name is Dixie. I am a certified coach, and I am passionate and fascinated by the internal portions of who we are. I think that we all know that we're more than just a physical body. There's this whole internal process that goes on as well. And I don't mean your organs and things like that. I mean more your thought processes and your beliefs and your feelings and all of those kind of things, the parts of us that are a little, they're not tangible. And I've been realizing lately more and more that I can take some examples from my physical body on how my internal portion of me works and how it's designed. And it's been pretty fascinating. So I wanted to share it with you. I have 5 examples of things that our physical body does that can help us to understand what's going on internally as well. And the first one I want to share with you is like the experience of getting something in your eye. The other day I was out doing yard work and I got a bug in my eye. And it was kind of fascinating because the bug goes in and my eye closes down. It's trying to protect me by closing, but the bug was already there. So now it's trapped inside of me. So, I had to pry my eye open, get the bug out, and go on with my life. And I realized that illustration, that experience that I had, is very similar to things that happen inside of us. That something will come into our life and our body tries to close off to protect us from it, but it's already there. Maybe something we've seen or something we've experienced or whatever, but we will close around it. And I'm sure if I told you today, if I came in, my eyes closed, and I told you, man, there's a bug in my eye and I just have to live with this the rest of my life, you would think I was crazy. You'd be like, no, open it up and get it out. And, you are designed that things can go in your eye and you can get them out and you'll be okay. And I believe our internal processes is the same way. We just don't know how to get those things out a lot of times. We don't know what the process is to release things once they're in there. and so that's why it continues to cause damage. And it's not like we're trying to get rid of the memory, because I still remember the bug going into my eye. Sorry, goodness. But we're trying to get rid of that foreign substance that our body doesn't want. Another way that we do this, another example that I had, was like if you get a sliver or a splinter in your under your skin. It's fascinating to me, but you'll get something under your skin, and then your body will build this little bubble around it, create a like a blister or whatever, in an attempt to get that item or that foreign substance out of your body. It's really fascinating because you didn't do anything. Something got underneath your skin. It could be a piece of wood or a piece of glass or anything like that. But your body is saying, hey, this isn't supposed to be here, and it does things to try to get rid of it. And another one that I think is a little more sensitive maybe, but if you eat something that is not good for you, that's it's gone bad, or it's your body just doesn't like it for whatever reason, you'll throw up. Your body is saying, hey, this isn't supposed to be here, and it gets rid of it. I believe that our internal processes are trying to do the same thing. We just treat them much different. Can you imagine if I said, you have a splinter or something in your finger and you just have to live with that forever? It's going to hurt. It's always going to be there. You would say, no, let's get it out and go on. If you ate something and you couldn't throw up, and I said, no, you have to just keep swallowing it down. You just have to keep it in there. You would think I was crazy. But we do that with our internal processes. We do that with our internal functions. And I think that's why we cause so much damage, why we have such a hard time functioning like we were intended to. Another one, maybe a little more severe, is shrapnel. If you think about, people that get like a bullet wound or a shrapnel in their bodies, they don't die necessarily from the bullet wound or from the shrapnel going in. It's because your body tries to get that stuff out. If you leave a bullet in you, your body will, basically it will kill you because it's trying to get rid of that bullet that's in there. Whereas if you go into surgery, they take that bullet out. There's damage caused, but once the bullet's out, your body can start to heal and you can be okay. And I believe it's the same thing that happens with us with our mental and emotional wounds that happen. I believe that we're designed a certain way. There's certain things that are supposed to be in us and certain things that are not. And when we have foreign things, when we have traumas that are not supposed to be in us, when we have different situations, our body tries to communicate with us. It tries to say, hey, there's something here. I want to get rid of this. I don't want this in my life. And thinking of, some of the ways that comes out, a situation will happen and you respond in a way that's so much bigger than that situation. But typically what happens is we think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I'm this horrible person. I just lost my temper, or I got out of control, or whatever. Whereas, I think, what I'm learning, what I'm seeing is if we look at it for what it is, like our body is saying, there is something trapped inside of you that needs to get out. You need to get this out of you. I believe some of the ways our body communicates on that internal system is with depression, is with sadness, or with anger, or I believe if we leave that stuff in there and we don't deal with it, we don't address it, it causes so much pain that, ultimately, people take their lives. These are things that, our body's trying to communicate to us. Something is wrong. Something is not supposed to be here. And yet our approach is, take a pill, or, let's talk about what happened, those kind of things. I really think it's a process that we need to get rid of whatever it is that's in there. And again, it's not like the memory goes away. You'll always know that happened, but the damage that's caused, the actual thing that's inside of you can be let go. I know it can. I've experienced it. And I really think if we can take those physical examples and apply them to our internal processes, it's enlightening and it's also freeing. One thing for me, a way that I have learned, to see things for what they are. It's a foreign something that's not me, and to be able to respond in a way that helps me instead of hurts me, is something as simple as our thoughts. A thought will come into my mind. Just had one yesterday, and initially when a thought comes in, I would think in the past, I would look at that and say, oh my gosh, what an awful person I am. I'm looking at that person and I'm judging them, or I'm thinking something about them. And the crazy part is now, because I've learned these different things, is the thought comes in, I'm looking at this person and I make a judgment, and this thought comes to mind. And then almost immediately, another voice comes in and says, oh my gosh, you're awful. How could you do that? So these two contradictory thoughts, like this one came in that tells me that person's doing something wrong, and the other one judges me for thinking that. I used to think those were me. I used to think that was a reflection of who I was. And when I learned thoughts are just thoughts, they're like floating around all over. They go into your mind, my mind, they're just everywhere. They're not mine. It wasn't me. Then I can look at it and I can say, thoughts are crazy. And I don't hold on to that. It doesn't cause any damage inside of me. I'm able to just let it go and go on with my day. And that's not me. It's not a reflection of me. It's not, I didn't come up with that. And I'm not going to take responsibility for it. And I recognize in that process that, when you take a foreign item and you build a bubble around it, you keep it, it's going to cause damage. It's going to cause pain. But when you recognize it for what it is and you treat it for what it is, you can let it go. You can release it. One more thing I just want to point out, my last example, is how when you go to the gym, when you physically exercise, you feel stronger and all those kind of things. And how you could exercise and do those things for months, and then something happens, you get injured or get sick or whatever, and it doesn't take more than like a week, and your muscles are weak again. They're not as strong as they used to be. And I believe that exact same thing happens with our internal processes, or internal muscles, if you will. And for me, I always did what was natural. And I think if we did physically what was natural, we'd sit on the couch a lot of times and not do anything. But we know the benefits of getting up and exercising. And so for me, I've learned the benefits of exercising my mind, of doing these different practices. Because if I don't, I go right back to where I was before. And it doesn't take long. So, taking that example from our physical body, I hope that you can learn to apply that. And, I shared a video of 5 different exercises that I've done, 5 or 6, I can't remember. But there's a bunch of different things that I do, and I do those every day. And they're not time consuming. It's not anything strenuous or anything like that. But it builds up in me the things that I want to be strong. The happiness, the joy, the peace, love, all those kind of things that then naturally come about. They naturally flow out of me. Whereas if I'm not practicing those things, if I'm not making those part of my daily life, they can atrophy. And I can go right back to my natural way of looking at things, of always finding the negative, of of not being happy, of closing myself inside and things like that. So just really want to encourage you, take those examples from your physical body, and if there's anything I can do to help you, I would love to. I have a website. It's called peacewithincoaching.com, and my email is dixiemay@live.com. Have a great day.